the culture industry was set up an awful long time ago, and Plato talked about it, in fact, and how you create cultures, and those at the top must be in charge, because anything coming from the bottom might have a ripple effect where it would go against the plans of those who own and rule the country. So we find that we've been degraded generation by generation for many, many years by that tube that you watch, that television tube. It's not there to entertain you. It's the biggest tool to manage your mind and eventually your behavior that was ever invented. I've gone on about Beria before, who worked in the Soviet Union. And in the 30s, he talked about how to change a culture. In his day, they got it down to about 5 years. He said it used to take us 70 years to make any major changes in the way people behave. And he had a whole list of things they wanted, destruction of the family unit, massive promiscuity for the West, all that stuff. Same as the Frankfurt School, it was a branch that came over to destroy the West, and is still in charge today, by the way, of all media and entertainment. And there's no end to where they're going to go with it. Remember what Huxley's brother mentioned too, Julian Huxley, who was the CEO of UNESCO, to try and create a world culture via education, roping in all the national education associations into this world association so that they'll all teach the same stuff. And he said the same thing. He says, eventually we'll teach them to basically rut like rabbits. As long as they don't have any children. They don't want children, you see. So they could have a field day, basically, literally, or anywhere else they want to do it. And as long as they had no children, that was the main thing. Plus, he said it would stop all bonding and be the end of the family unit, which is what's happened already. It's actually here. And then you find they're still going at it today. And they didn't stop just with that. They've had so many of the so-called stars that built up. And you can build anybody into a star. Honestly, you can. Because when the big boys who own the system take you over, it doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, and of course with today's kind of music and the kind of mixers and equipment they have, they can make anybody sound much the same as the wailing that you're hearing at the moment, all that wailing that you hear. And of course, they've got songs out about lesbian love and gay love and all the rest of it. Lady Gaga now tells little children, little girls, it's time and it's fun to screw 2 guys at a time. I'll put that link up for you too, because that's what your little children are watching now. And it's not Lady Gaga's idea, believe you me. She's just a little whore who's been picked up. She could have been a stripper, probably didn't get so much money at that, but she'll do whatever she's told and she'll behave in whichever way. Because the real boys behind her are the guys that manage her, the big boys that create your culture. Back with more after this break. Hi folks, we're back, cutting through the matrix, just talking about how nothing happens by itself, and how when everyone at the bottom is dysfunctional, then there's no unity amongst any of them. They're volunteer so many different things. They never stand up and fight anything at all. That's part of the whole system. That's why it's going down that way. You need unity and common values to stand up together against anything. And I've said this many times, if you actually got so many groups out who think they're fighting what they call the New World Order, they'd end up fighting each other. When you really find out what you will have that, but we'll also have this. I'm not kidding you. And they would start battling each other. You see? And this article here is from Holland, and it says, shock after a Dutch priest endorses pedophilia. Well, it's part of this man-boy love association deal, and it's also part of the world's agenda, because in the 2001, when the association, the World Association of your censor committees that was supposed to watch all media to make sure it's not too overboard for you, for your country, and you pay them fantastic salaries, by the way, through your government to do so. They met in 2001, a couple of months before 9/11, and it came out in the newspapers then that said, now that we've won the battle, this is your censor boys talking. Now they've won the battle for homosexuality and getting more and more stuff on television, which will promote more from now on. They actually said the next goal will be bestiality and intergenerational sex. That's what they want to call pedophilia. And Amsterdam, it says Dutch Catholic Church and the Salesian Order investigating revelations that a Salesian priest served on the board of a group that promotes pedophilia with the full knowledge of the boss. The order's top official in the Netherlands, Delegate Herman Spronk, confirmed in a statement that the priest identified by RTL News as 73-year-old Father Van B served on the board of Martin, a group that campaigns to end the Dutch ban on adult child sex. The group is widely reviled but not outlawed. And it says, however, Spronk's own superior in Belgium said he will investigate both Spronk and Van B after both men were quoted by RTL News as saying such relationships aren't always harmful. And that's the whole thing they're going for, by the way. And I know even the religion it initially comes from, it's very, very old, where they say there's no real harm done to us. This is the same stuff too. You find all the other weirdos that gave you all your free love and all the rest of it. It's the same kind of stuff that eventually helped destroy society years ago, coming out in the guise of science. That there's no real, like the Kinsey report, for instance, where they hired professionals and government members, by the way. Kinsey's main character for buggering babies, which he did very well apparently, and photographed it all and filmed it all with stopwatches to see if they cried, etc. He was a government agent, worked for the U.S. government. And Kinsey eventually hired prostitutes and homosexuals and said they were the normal people and that he used in his test group. He tried to tell the public it was all normal people, but no, they're all homosexuals, prostitutes and so on that he used, apart from the children who generally were in homes. And that's why they hired these professional pedophiles who were really working for the government to go around the different orphanages to do these sexual experiments with little children, even babies as young as a year or so, a year and a half. So there's a lot of evil with us in the world, and of course I'll be condemned for even saying that, because there are ones out there too that will demand their rights to do this kind of stuff, and that's what you're living in. That's what you're living in today. And I've never ever said I was here to save the world, because I'm darn well, I know that you cannot save a dying mass of people who've lost all their values. You can't do it. You cannot. People who've lost all the normal values that keep a society strong and workable, if they've lost all their values, they can't stand up against anything. And they're gone. The ancients said that too. They knew that then. So that's where they go, well, if there's no harm involved. And this is the same thing that they're giving with dogs and cats and everything else that some strange people have a lust after. That as long as there's no harm done to the animal, then what's the problem? Well, how can an animal consent, for goodness sake? Huh? How can a child consent, or a baby that's going gaga consent? But you can't get into the head of the psychopaths, you know. It's a very strange, strange world they live in. But they will rationalize everything for themselves. It simply will make no sense to anybody else. Unless you've watched lots of TV. Because you're already being degraded through entertainment to accept anything at all. And believe you me, they've never finished. They're not even halfway through their projects yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. Hi folks, I'm back. We're cutting through the matrix. We'll try Carlton from New York there.
Hello, Mr. Watt. This is Carlton.
Oh, how are you? Okay.
All right, how you doing?
Not so bad, yeah.
Talking about media manipulation, and I don't know if you knew, but Oprah Winfrey just came out with fairly recently just came out with a new network. Now, I know you might be aware her production company was named Harpo.
Yeah.
Productions, which is like her name backwards, Oprah.
That's right.
But the new network she comes out with is OWN, or Oprah Winfrey Network. But you know what that is backwards too.
That's right, New World Order.
But as well as I was thinking about the music industry now, I say the two biggest rappers out here now is probably Lil Wayne and for the males, and for the females is another person under his same label, named Nicki Minaj. Now, Lil Wayne he's outrageous in what he talks about. I mean, just the same degrading mess anyway. But I asked these little kids around where my job is on their way to school, was like I told you, like you talked about before, the blending of the genders basically, and the androgynous type of hermaphroditic gender that's coming up. But like I told the kid, I was like, about 10 years ago, we used to get talked about if our pants was too tight. Now it was the baggy jeans with the sag, and like when I was a teenager. Now it's the tight jeans with the sag for the boys, and then the girls, and that got projected through the rapper Lil Wayne. But for the girls, is this whole we don't need boys or we don't need a man type thing, and like real loose with how they treat other women and all the type of stuff sexually. You know what I mean? And to me, that comes from the girl Nicki Minaj, because she actually came out and stated that she doesn't even really like men. But I see it, and I asked the little kids, like, where did y'all get that style from? Because I told, I was like, if y'all came up when I came up, we would be talking about y'all right now. It was crazy. They just don't know where anything comes from. It just accept it like it's nothing.
Exactly. They accept it, and there's Plato went through, he says it works together. The culture industry has those at the top putting out drama, and as movies today, that is, his day was drama on the stage, and everyone would copy it. It works together, he said, with the fashion industry. The fashion industry, he called it. And he also called it with the music industry as well. So they all work together. And then little children, as you say, they see the clothes appear in the stores and they buy them. They never think, wait a minute, it took many meetings of top designers to agree on this style to give to you. And there's got to be a reason for it. Just like the miniskirt, there was a reason for that, But generation by generation, they all work together and they build up these little stars that they could pick off the street anywhere, and make them a star. The ones behind them know exactly what they're doing, ones behind them. But thanks for calling.
Thank you. Take it easy.
You too. And from Hamish myself from Ontario, Canada, it's good night to meet your God or your gods go with you.